Fu Yao attacked Sen Lang with his spiritual powers. The sphere of light blasted through 2 walls behind Sen Lang. The youth did not budge, looking unconcerned at the heavenly official who tried to end him. As debris fell on Xie Lian's head, he calmly addressed the 2 heavenly officials with a smile and towered over the 2 to convey his ire. He called upon Ro Yi to tie up the 2 together. He bids Sen Lang a short farewell as he drags the 2 outside. Xie Lian dragged Nanfeng and Fu Yao to the gate of his new home. He released them before placing the sign in front of them. He asked them to read the sign. Scandalized, Fu Yao reprimanded Xie Lian for writing a sign asking for donations. It is rather shameful and tacky for a god to seek donation or to beg for alms from their worshipper. Fu Yao criticized Xie Lian for writing a sign asking for donations. Unashamed, Xie Lian admitted to writing the sign himself. He reasons that if the 2 continue to fight with Sen Lang and destroy his shrine, he will soon be asking for a new house, then he would have no dignity left. Exasperated by his nonchalance, Nanfeng worriedly asked if he does not find the young man suspicious. Xie Lian placed the wooden sign down, and it hit one of the gate's posts with a clack. Xie Lian admitted that he does find him suspicious and that he already ran a few tests on Sen Lang. The 2 eagerly asked for the results. Xie Lian noticed a broken tile piece sticking to his hair, and he fiddled with it for a moment as he informed them that the results showed nothing unusual. If Sen Lang is not a mere mortal, then there is only one possibility left. Fu Yao supplied that the red-clad youth could be a devastation-rank ghost. Xie Lian continued to examine his hair for any debris. Sure enough, he finds an undamaged piece of tile. Xie Lian asked the 2 if they believe that a devastation-rank ghost has enough free time to be meandering about in the mortal realm to collect scraps with Xie Lian. After admiring the piece of tile, Xie Lian decided to keep it in his sleeves for safekeeping. He intends to use it later when they fix the roof. Unable to refute his words, the 2 were rendered speechless. This actually made sense. Devastation-rank ghosts are big shots in the ghost realm that they would not take the time to chop wood, make a door, or paint the portrait of a washed-out god. Xie Lian told Nanfeng and Fu Yao to cease their meddling. Unable to let the topic go, Nanfeng insists that he still wants to test the young man's intention. Xie Lian stopped in his tracks as he looks behind at the 2, with his forehead furrowed. He gave Nanfeng permission to test Sen Lang with caution to not go overboard. There's still a possibility that he is just a young master who left home to explore. Xie Lian warned them not to bully Sen Lang. Nanfeng's expression turned incredulous while Fu Yao's eyes rolled to the back of his head. They can't believe that they are being cautioned to not bully a possible devastation-rank ghost. Unable to contain himself, Nanfeng expressed his disbelief by shouting profanities at Xie Lian. Xie Lian entered the house, and he found Sen Lang sifting through the debris, carefully placing the undamaged roof tiles in a small stack. The ones that are broken are set aside in one pile. The broken broom held in one hand was hastily mended by wrapping a piece of cloth around the handle. It's sweet how Sen Lang treats Xie Lian's belongings with care. Although, throwing the broom at Fu Yao is probably not the best idea, or maybe it is. Wu King or General Zhu Zhen used to be a servant of Xie Lian, so being thrown a broom was highly insulting to Fu Yao, who reports to General Zhu Zhen. He tells Sen Lang that there has been a misunderstanding. Nanfeng and Fu Yao came to help him. With the earlier visit from the empty vessel pretending to be a cultivator, they had to take extra precautions and interrogate those they meet. Xie Lian opened the door for the 2 deputy gods as they entered his shrine. He closed the door behind them as he implored Sen Lang to not take offense at their behavior. Sen Lang turned to Xie Lian to tell him that as Xie Lian explained that it was all a misunderstanding, he would not mind their presence. He concludes that they may have acted that way because he resembles someone they knew. Fu Yao answered that he does look familiar and that they may have mistaken him for someone else. Sen Lang, coincidentally, also thinks that the 2 also look familiar. Knowing that they are being toyed with, the 3 partook in a staring contest. Their fight can be compared to a dog and a wild cat having a standoff. The air about them was wrought with tension. Nanfeng broke the tension with a cough. He asked to have a space cleared out for him so that he can draw a distance-shortening array. It is similar to a teleportation device that will allow them to cover long distances in just a few seconds. Xie Lian was relieved that they won't be traveling a great distance. With the 2 officials, they will have enough reserve to infuse an array of spiritual power, something that Xie Lian is unable to do in his current state. He parted the curtains that conceal the bedroom and invited them in. On the other side of the wall that Fu Yao busted through, Xie Lian showed them a clear space on the wall where they can draw the array. As the 2 entered the bedroom, they were stunned at the state of Xie Lian's sleeping area. There is a draft coming through a big hole in the wall. There is no ceiling, and the roof is missing some shingles. Fu Yao was shocked at the state of Xie Lian's living situation and asked if this is the kind of place he lives in. Unconcerned, Xie Lian answered that he's always lived in places like this. Poor Xie Lian, I just want to hug you, Nanfeng quickly set to work. He knocked on the wall to check its sturdiness. Fu Yao, devastated at Xie Lian's pitiful state, raised 2 fingers towards his head, looking like he was having a headache. As Nanfeng starts to draw the array, Fu Yao noticed something that made him double take. Xie Lian rolled his bed made of straws to tuck it away. Fu Yao asks where his bed is, to which Xie Lian referred to the one he's tucking away as our bed. This scandalized the 2 heavenly officials. Nanfeng halted his drawing while Fu Yao clarified if he sleeps in one bed with the suspicious young master. Xie Lian affirmed his suspicions and sees no issue in his sleeping situation. Sen Lang stood beside the door with an unreadable expression. The 2 kept quiet, but both seems to be deeply bothered by what they heard. They can't believe that not only does Xie Lian hangs out with a suspicious individual, who could be a devastation ghost, but he also sleeps with him. Wondering what bothers the 2 official, Xie Lian continued to tuck the bedroll away. Patting dust off his robes, Xie Lian reached out to his hat and asked them to allow him a bit of time to pack his meager belongings. With his belongings secured to his body, he turned to Sen Lang and asked him to continue his story about the Grand Tutor. The young master was brooding beside the door. Xie Lian noticed that Sen Lang's left arm was inked. His arm was tattooed with strange calligraphy. Noticing that Xie Lian was looking at his arm, Sen Lang pulled at his sleeves to cover his tattoo. He told Xie Lian not to mind it and that it was something that was tattooed on his arm when he was younger. Fu Yao kept on annoying Nanfeng, commenting that the lines of the array are crooked. As Nanfeng and Fu Yao bicker in the background, Sen Lang continued with his tale. He tells Xie Lian that the Grand Tutor of Half Moon Pass is one of the 2 demonic cultivators that lived at the time. There is another Grand Tutor from the Central Plains called Fang Xin. Xie Lian seemed startled at the name. Does he know this Fang Xin? Sen Lang clarified that this Fang Xin was not related to Half Moon Pass and told Xie Lian to focus on the other one who was made Grand Tutor at Half Moon Pass. Nanfeng let out an exclamation. The array is finished. Fu Yao agreed that it will have to do, while Nanfeng told him to shut up and to stop his annoying remarks. Xie Lian invited Sen Lang to head over to the wall while they continued their talk about the Grand Tutor. The 4 stood in front of the intricately drawn array. Xie Lian extended his hand, palm at the center of the array as he recited an incantation. The array activated, the circles for north and west lighting up. Xie Lian stepped forward, melting towards the wall, and the other 3 follow. As soon as all have entered, the array disappeared. No trace of the drawing nor the previous occupants of the room were left behind. The gods are off to another adventure. They arrived at an abandoned city in the desert. The sun cast an eerie glow on the ruins left behind from centuries past, bathing the once flourishing city with a red-orange hue. As the 4 walked deeper into the ruins, Nanfeng cannot contain his ire at having the suspicious young master tag along with them. Without care, Sen Lang explained that he only wanted to take a closer look at the array and wanted to experience for himself the convenience of a teleportation device. This blew off Nanfeng's top. Astounded at the audacity of this young master, treating this mission like a walk in the park, Xie Lian raised a finger to rub between his eyes and sighed. There is no use being angry at Sen Lang, as they can't just send him back. He assures Nanfeng that they won't be short on food as he brought extra. Fu Yao rolled his eyes sarcastically, expressing that the food was not the issue, preventing any further fights before it starts. Xie Lian told everyone to focus on the task at hand. He pulled at Sen Lang and asked him to stay close so that he does not get lost. Obediently, Sen Lang agreed. Nanfeng cannot believe how indulgently Xie Lian treats Sen Lang while Fu Yao snicked beside him. Sen Lang only listens to Xie Lian. It must have been very annoying for Nanfeng to watch Xie Lian favor a possible ghost king. Night came as the 4 braved the cold nights of the desert. Sen Lang called for Xie Lian's attention as he pointed towards the star-littered sky. He was pointing at the Big Dipper. Xie Lian commented that it is unusually bright. Sen Lang explained that the sky is clearer in the northwest. According to legends, if you follow the Big Dipper, you will eventually reach Half Moon Pass. Sen Lang remembers that he was not able to finish his story about the Grand Tutor. He continues with his tale while Nanfeng and Fu Yao follow along. With formidable power and cunning, the Grand Tutor of Banu Kingdom earned the respect and loyalty of its soldiers. It came to the point that they worshipped the Grand Tutor. The people of the Banu Kingdom are fierce and combative. Their army is strong, and they do not lack manpower. Their country is located between the Central Plains and the Northwest, which is an advantageous location as they can charge a toll for all merchants who will enter. Friction eventually arose between the Central Plains and Banu Kingdom. They would ambush and fight each other at the borders, which eventually led to an all-out war. Despite the Grand Tutor's power and protection, the Banu Kingdom fell after a massive attack from the people of Central Plains some 200 years ago. The country used to be an oasis, filled with lush forestry and clear waters. After the country fell, the resentment of the deceased soldiers and the Grand Tutor remained, draining the place of life until it became no longer livable. That place must be so scary. The dead soldiers continue to haunt the place to this day. It is rumored that travelers who survived passing through Half Moon Pass revealed that they witnessed patrolling soldiers at night. The people who used to live in the Banu kingdom can no longer bear its harsh surroundings and the ghosts lingering in the area. One by one, they left and abandoned the place. Soon, a rumor spread that every group that goes through Half Moon Pass will lose half of its members. It is said that those passing through Half Moon Pass will have to pay a toll. The toll is human lives. Fu Yao joined their conversation rudely, implying that the young lord seemed to know a lot. Sen Lang calmly answered that he does not really know much, it's only that they seem to know nothing. This angered the two deputy gods as they walked behind them, seething. Xie Lian suppressed a chuckle as he notes that this young master has a sharp tongue. Sounds familiar. Sen Lang then tells Xie Lian that there's a possibility that the Banu kingdom never existed. All these are old tales passed down as legends, and there may not be a grand tutor at all. Xie Lian agreed that it's a possibility, however. He confirms that the Banu kingdom did exist. Sen Lang responded skeptically. Realizing that he almost revealed his status as an immortal, Xie Lian told Sen Lang that it was something that he also heard. Xie Lian scolded himself for almost telling Sen Lang that he used to collect trash in Banu kingdom before the Grand Tutor existed. When the night turned to day, the sun bearing down on them was unbearable. It was scorching. The sand under their feet is as hot as coals. Sen Lang appeared tired and weary. His outer robe was removed and placed on top of his head to block the sun. Xie Lian can't stop looking at him. Albeit disheveled and tired, the young man still looked stunning. Xie Lian took pity on the young man. He took off his hat and placed it on top of Sen Lang's head. Sen Lang looked stunned at the gesture. Xie Lian, being the super nice guy that he is, told Sen Lang that he should wear the hat as it is noon and the heat emanating from the sun is too strong. Not wanting to rob Xie Lian of comfort, Sen Lang took off the hat and placed it on Xie Lian's head. The two deputy gods stood to the side. Their expression looked like they were forced to eat dog food. The lovey-dovey scene grossed them out. Eating dog food is a Chinese expression. It occurs when you witness two people showing affection, and you find it annoying or gross. Nan Feng observed the scene in disgust and bewilderment while Fu Yao thumped his fist on his open palm. A sudden epiphany assaults him. Fu Yao raised a pouch to Nan Feng's view and took out a water container. He tells Nan Feng that he will use the item to reveal whether the youth traveling with them is human or not. Nan Feng acquiesced to Fu Yao's plan, commenting that it will be foolproof. They laughed in glee, eyes sparkling, as they hatched a plan. Meanwhile, Xie Lian and Sen Lang talked happily, oblivious to the two. And so, their excursion to Half Moon Pass continued with Xie Lian leading the way. An enthusiastic Sen Lang kept close to him as two disgruntled heavenly officials followed. In the middle of the desert, a lone dilapidated tea house stood. Inside, they found respite and sat around a table. Not wanting to sit beside Fu Yao, Nan Feng brought another bench to the table. Parched, Sen Lang drank enough water to quench his thirst. He passed the gourd to Xie Lian, which Xie Lian readily accepted. Tilting his head back, Xie Lian drank a mouthful, gulping as the water slides through his throat. Sen Lang watched Xie Lian as he drank. With a satisfied sigh, Xie Lian wiped his damp lips. With his chin propped on one hand, Sen Lang asked Xie Lian if there is still some water left in the bottle. I think he wants an indirect kiss, Xie Lian answered with a hum as he reseals the bottle with its cap. The two deputy gods watched the young man with suspicion. As soon as Xie Lian handed over the gourd to Sen Lang, Fu Yao blocked the bottle that Xie Lian was holding. Fu Yao reasons that Xie Lian is almost out of water and must conserve his supplies. He pushed over a water skin filled with water to Sen Lang. Very nicely and out of character, he politely asked Sen Lang to drink his water. Xie Lian recognized it for what it is. Inside the water skin is a true form water. The two looked at Xie Lian, determinedly, urging him to not intervene. The true form water will not harm those who drink it. However, Xie Lian worries that the tonic might be powerful, if it was meant to test if this youth is a devastation-ranked ghost. Sen Lang shifts on his chair at the eagerness of his host. Suspicious, he asked them why they are not drinking it themselves. Fu Yao countered that since he is their guest, it is only polite that Sen Lang drinks first. Sen Lang coyly retorted that since they are the hosts, then they should be the first to drink. He does not wish to be rude. This Sen Lang knows how to annoy them to no end at a standstill. The four sat in silence, trying a different tactic. Fu Yao went for the offensive and accused Sen Lang of not drinking the water because he is guilty. The youth retorted that they may have poisoned the water. Skillfully manipulating the situation, Fu Yao told Sen Lang to ask Xie Lian if the water is poisoned or not. Sen Lang asked his Gege if the water was poisoned. Xie Lian recognized how craftily the question was poised. Since it is not actually poisoned, Xie Lian can honestly answer that it isn't. As he was about to disclose the effects of the tonic, Sen Lang quickly took hold of the water skin and, without hesitation, drank from it. At the ready, the two heavenly officials anticipated the results. Sen Lang threw the empty water skin on the table with a thud, complaining that the water did not taste good. Nothing happened to him. Still not convinced, Nanfeng took out an item wrapped in cloth. It was placed on the table with a clang. As Nanfeng unwraps the item, he tells Sen Lang that is a sign of goodwill. He'll gift him a sword to protect himself. Xie Lian recognized the sword. It was Red Mirror. The sword used to be Xie Lian's, a gift from Junwu back when he was the darling of the heavens. When the one who touches it is not human, the sword will glow a bright red and reveal the identity of the one who unsheathes it. Xie Lian recalled the time when he was struggling and ordered Feng Xin to pawn it. In the novel, Xie Lian lived in poverty after his country fell and had to sell or pawn some of his stuff to make ends meet. It must have been a painful memory for Xie Lian. Feng Xin must have bought the sword after he and Xie Lian went their separate ways. It did not occur to Xie Lian that he would see it again. Excitedly, Sen Lang asked to see the sword. He quickly unsheathed the sword. As the blade reveals itself from its confinement, the two deputy gods sat up alert. With an amused chuckle, Sen Lang resheathes the sword and throws it on the table with a loud clang. He asked Xie Lian if his servants are playing tricks on him. Why would they gift him a broken sword? The three were baffled and stunned with disbelief. Nanfeng quickly grabbed the sword. As he unsheathes it, the broken pieces of the sword fall out from the scabbard. It was unbelievable. With a resonating clang, each piece fell out to the cloth that once safeguarded the sword. Nanfeng exclaimed accusatorily at Sen Lang. Xie Lian was astounded that someone could break the magical sword while safely tucked within its scabbard. Sen Lang lifted one foot to the table as he lounged back. He reasoned that the sword must have been broken on the way to the desert. Tauntingly, he pretends to appreciate their hospitality as he mentions that they probably did not intend to give him a broken sword. He assures them that he can defend himself without a weapon. Dejectedly, Fu Yao and Nanfeng collect their stuff as Xie Lian sighed in relief. From his view at the window, Xie Lian notices that the wind is picking up. He eats his meat bun and quietly takes note that a sandstorm is coming their way. He deduced that if they continue, there is a chance that they might not find a safe place to hide from the sandstorm. As the wind continued to blow through the sands and the sun continued to scorch all underneath, two figures flew through the air, one dressed in white, the other in black. Both appeared to be female, with their clothes billowing in the wind. They landed on the roof in the pole, their feet light, their movements swift. The one dressed in white took notice of Xie Lian. As they made eye contact, the girl flirtatiously winked at him. With a swift jump, she was gone. Who are those women? Stunned, Xie Lian continued to stare at the door. Nanfeng stood up, alarmed, as he wondered out loud who those people were. Xie Lian stepped closer to the door, while Sen Lang sat relaxed on the chair with both feet up on the table. Xie Lian urged the others to get going as he told them that the wind was getting stronger. He tells them that they need to get as far as they can before the sandstorm hits. It will be a nasty storm that awaits them if they don't hurry. Sure enough, a sandstorm loomed above them. They walked through the sandstorm, bracing themselves against the harsh wind and sand. Xie Lian cautioned them to not be separated. The heavenly officials covered their eyes from the sand assaulting their vision while Sen Lang stood casually with his arms folded in front of him. Xie Lian calls for Sen Lang. He ties up Sen Lang's clothes, telling him to make sure that the sand does not get in his clothes and eyes. Xie Lian suspects that the sandstorm was caused by demonic cultivation as it came very abruptly. They should quickly find a place to take cover from the sandstorm. Fu Yao notes that apart from it being a strong sandstorm, it is not causing them too much harm. He suspects that its only purpose is to keep them from getting closer to Half Moon Pass. Fu Yao thinks that the best course of action is simply to move forward. Xie Lian thinks to himself that it is better to be on the safe side and find a safe place to hide until the storm passes. Sen Lang snickered, which annoyed Fu Yao. With a mocking smile, Sen Lang looked at Fu Yao and says that he must be deliberately going against people as being unconventional makes him feel good. You've hit a nerve there, Sen Lang. If looks could kill, Xie Lian smiled, trying to defuse the situation. He asked them to stop and save the fight for later. He adds that the winds may blow even harsher, and that they must find a place to hide. Fu Yao sarcastically countered that wind like this won't be able to sweep them up to the sky. In a pacifying gesture, Xie Lian was about to agree when suddenly, he got swept away by the wind. It was a tornado. His hat flew off, and Xie Lian let out a scream as he got swallowed by the tornado. He continued to swirl around, making him dizzy. All the amusement rides you've been through will not hold a candle against what Xie Lian is experiencing right now. He calls for Ro Yi to find something stable to hold on to. He was initially relieved when he felt Ro Yi wrapped around something. A flash of red meets him, and Xie Lian, not knowing if he should laugh or cry, brings Sen Lang with him to their doom. Well, he did latch onto someone stable. Good job, Ro Yi. Being dragged by a silk cloth toward the eye of a tornado did not seem to bother Sen Lang at all. He even brought back Xie Lian's hat. and he had the time to grab the hat, surprised by Sen Lang's sudden movement. He allowed Sen Lang to maneuver him so that the youth is situated behind him, hugging his waist. This seems to be a convenient position for Xie Lian, as it would allow both his arms freedom. He assures Sen Lang that everything will be all right and encourages the youth to hold on to him tighter. Obediently, Sen Lang agrees. This boy can dole out the sharpest insults, but he's always obedient to Xie Lian. Xie Lian gathers his bearings as he attempts a second time. He unleashes Ro Yi to find another sturdy thing to latch on, cautioning not to grab more people. He felt the tension in a stretch of fabric before he saw Fu Yao and Nanfeng wrapped together tightly by Ro Yi. Crying out of frustration, Xie Lian asks them why are they with him now. Like a rabid dog, Fu Yao snapped at him and told him to blame it on Ro Yi. What Xie Lian did not anticipate is that Ro Yi did not consider deputy gods as people. Nanfeng is just sick of all this. Like a chastised child, Ro Yi sweetly bowed to Xie Lian. Xie Lian encouraged the silk band to do better as everyone depends on it now. They attempted a third time. Xie Lian felt Ro Yi hit the ground with a thud. Brimming with hope, he ordered Ro Yi to pull them to the ground. Once they were out of the sandstorm, he commanded Ro Yi to unlatch. The 3 heavenly officials and 1 teen fell to the sand underneath in a cloud of dust and sand. Coughing out the sand they accidentally swallowed, the 4 stumbled to the ground. Putting his hat back on, Xie Lian beckoned the others to hurry into the cave ahead. Safely tucked inside a dark cave, Xie Lian asked the 2 deputy gods why they did not use the 1,000-pound spell. If they were able to use it, they could have pulled Xie Lian down when Ro Yi latched onto them. A 1,000-pound spell is its namesake, means that they will be 1,000 pounds heavy so the wind or Ro Yi cannot lift them up. Ro Yi was not wrong at all by grabbing these 2 if only they were able to use the spell. Nanfeng answered that their powers are being suppressed, making them unable to use the spell. Fu Yao sarcastically asked where Xie Lian think they are. As there are no Xuanzhen or Nanyang temples nearby, their powers are restricted. Up north belongs to the Mingguing Palace, while the west is Quan Yizhen's territory. There is a saying that one must not play freely in another's territory. So, when a deputy god visits another god's territory, their powers are subject to restrictions. Xie Lian thanked them for their hard work as he pats the dust from his hat. Sen Lang asked Xie Lian if they would sit the sandstorm out in the cave. Xie Lian agreed, saying that this may be their only option at the moment. While waiting out the storm, Xie Lian thought it is better to learn more about the Grand Tutor. He asked Sen Lang if the Grand Tutor is a man or a woman. Contemplatively, Sen Lang hummed and reveals to Xie Lian that the Grand Tutor is a woman. Xie Lian tells Sen Lang that the people they saw while resting at the abandoned tea house were both females. The one dressed in white appears to be a cultivator. Xie Lian adds that their movement was light and graceful. There's no way that they are mortals. He can't help but wonder if the one in white was the Grand Tutor of Banu Kingdom. Nanfeng leaned on a rock while Fu Yao sat as they listened. In his frustration, Nanfeng punched the cave wall with his fist. He declares that they will get to the bottom of this no matter what happens. He also expressed how suspicious it is that a cave conveniently appears inside a boulder during a sandstorm. Xie Lian answered that it is not uncommon to find caves like this littering the way to Half Moon Pass. He explains that the people of Half Moon Pass used to dig out caves to hide from the sandstorm. Sen Lang called his Gege's attention and told him that the rock Xie Lian is sitting on has words inscribed on it. As Xie Lian gets up, he notices that all along, he has been sitting on a tombstone. He asked one of the deputy gods to provide him with light so that he can read the inscription. With his powers sealed, his spiritual power is not strong enough to produce fire. The 2 came closer as Nanfeng lit up a fire on his palm. Nanfeng cannot read the words. Xie Lian explains that the crypt is written in Half Moon's language. Nanfeng was surprised that Xie Lian can read it. Xie Lian reveals that he used to collect trash in Half Moon Country before. The 2 were stunned into silence, while Fu Yao wonders how many places Xie Lian had collected trash from. He was missing for 800 years. He must have traveled to different places. He's immortal, and people will finally catch on that the trash collector is not aging at all. With an embarrassed cough, Xie Lian read the first word on the crypt. General. The word brought a shiver to Nanfeng and Fu Yao's back, and they stood straight in alarm. I wonder why. Just kidding, I know. They asked Xie Lian to repeat himself. Xie Lian explained that the first word on the crypt is general, however, he is unable to read the rest. The 2 deputy gods sighed in relief as Sen Lang looked at them with a disapproving expression. They insisted for Xie Lian to read further, to which Xie Lian agreed. Out of the corner of his eye, Xie Lian spotted a man hiding in the shadows. The man was peering at them from above, spying on them. Up ahead, a man wearing a turban peeks at them from above. When Xie Lian made eye contact with the man's eyes widened in fear, and he screamed. This alarmed the deputy gods, and one of them asked who else is hiding in the cave. The 4 found several people huddled within an enclosed cavern. Frightened, they exclaimed that they were just a group of merchants who took respite in the cave due to the sandstorm. Suspicious of the strangers, Nanfeng asked why they are sneaking around if they have no ill intentions. A young man with a red bandana replied that they did not intend to hide. However, when they heard the four come in talking about the Grand Tutor of Banu Kingdom, they deemed that it was better to be cautious. Their fear was even heightened when two of the newcomers started creating fire with their hands. They concluded that they must be half-moon soldiers preying on the lives of passing merchants. Scared of offending these powerful cultivators, the young man's uncle pulls him down to put a stop to his babbling. Xie Lian assured the traveling merchants that it was all a misunderstanding. With a halo of a benevolent god, he convinces the merchants that they are merely cultivators who know a few tricks. Xie Lian adds that, just like them, they are also passing through and decided to stay in the cave while waiting for the sandstorm to pass. Emotionally spent, the young man kneeled beside his uncle. His uncle was relieved that the misunderstanding has been resolved and that no harm will befall them. The guy at the back is still holding onto his head. Well, I can't blame them. With rumors that half of your group will never come back, they definitely need to take all necessary precautions. Sen Lang chuckled. He observes that with all the rumors going around regarding Half Moon Pass, no ordinary group will choose to pass through it. They must think they have special skills that will make them able to survive the arduous journey. There must be something that made them confident enough to push through. Confidently, the young man stated that they received help from a reliable guide. Their brother Zhao can get them through alive. His uncle added that as long as there is a local to lead the way and stay clear of the Banu Kingdom, they can pass safely. This Zhao is revealed to be the handsome man dressed in black robes and a blue cloak sitting cross-legged behind the uncle. His wavy hair was secured by a top knot. He looks familiar, filled with too much optimism and enthusiasm. The group carried on with their pep talk to boost each other's confidence and morale. Xie Lian worried about this group's blind optimism. He thinks to himself that of all the merchants who passed through Half Moon Pass, none of them would have deliberately gone to Banu Kingdom, yet only half of their group survived. The groups before them would have taken the same precautions as these merchants, but it was all for naught. This group might experience the same gory end as the others. Xie Lian tapped Nanfeng's shoulders. Xie Lian decided to escort this group out of Half Moon Pass before they proceed with their investigation. Xie Lian went back to reading the tombstone. The words look familiar to him, but the meaning eludes him. Sen Lang reads two words from the crypt, and Xie Lian realizes that Sen Lang can read the half-moon language. Humbly, Sen Lang stated that he knew a little of it as he found it interesting. Xie Lian beckoned him to come closer. He decided to recruit Sen Lang's skills in deciphering the words on the crypt. The two kneeled in front of the tomb while Fu Yao and Nanfeng provided light. They caught the curiosity of the young man wearing the red bandana. As he munched on a piece of bread, he asked what it says. A dainty finger dragged through the carved words. Xie Lian says that it tells the story of a general who used to reside in Central Plains. Nanfeng comments on how unusual it is for the half-moon people to erect a tomb for a general from the Central Plains. The two countries were at war leading to the destruction of Banu Kingdom. So why would they erect a memento for a soldier from the enemy country? Hua Cheng clarifies that the soldier was not an actual general, however. He was a popular official. The said general started to lead 100 people, but the numbers kept dwindling. As he progressed through his career as a soldier, he was demoted repeatedly until he reached the bottom. Nanfeng and Fu Yao stared at Xie Lian meaningfully and can't help but be reminded of Xie Lian's past emotions. Xie Lian sweated bullets as he can feel their heavy stare. Leave him alone. He's trying his hardest. Naively, the young man wearing a red bandana commented on what kind of failure the soldier must be to be demoted several times throughout his career. This casual remark hit Xie Lian personally. Sometimes, the ones that hit the most are careless remarks of children. Kids are mean. Xie Lian defended the dead soldier and himself by telling the kid that there are officials who become worse over time. It is not at all uncommon. Sen Lang agreed with him. Sen Lang continued reading the script. The general's demotion is not due to a lack of skills. Rather, he was demoted because he always got in the way whenever a battle arose. He prevented the soldiers from the Central Plains and the Banu Kingdom from killing civilians. The young man sympathizes with the general. Killing civilians is wrong even during the war. The other merchants in the group agreed. They do not think the general was wrong at all. Xie Lian notes to himself that times have changed, and without the hatred and war looming above them, people are now able to sympathize. Zhao explained that the people of Central Plains and the Banu Kingdom hated each other so deeply. A hatred that runs so deeply that people nowadays will not be able to understand. He comments that being demoted is an easy punishment for the official. With a derisive snort, Fu Yao countered that a soldier would eventually kill their enemies. Collateral damage is to be expected, and some civilians may die as casualties. The general's kindness will make him appear soft and will be the subject of ridicule. He expects that the general's kindness would have led to his death, and what's even worse, his own people will cause it. Maybe I'm being naive. Someone whose heart stays good even in the middle of chaos and war is someone worth remembering. This is probably why the people of Half Moon Pass erected the crypt for this soldier. Xie Lian agreed with Fu Yao. The soldier died on the battlefield. During his fight, he stepped on his untied bootlace and fell to the ground. The angry soldiers trampled him to death. I can hear the song Dumb Ways to Die. So kids, make sure to tie your shoelaces securely. There was a beat of silence from the group of merchants. The elders with more control muttered and whispered amongst themselves while the young man can't hold his snicker. Sen Lang challenged the young man and asked him what was so funny. Embarrassed, the young man apologized, expressing that he does not mean to offend. Xie Lian asked the rest of the party to be more considerate as they are in front of the tomb of the fallen general. Yeah, have some respect. Xie Lian touched the top of the tomb with a sigh as he concludes the tale. While the general was hated during his time as a soldier, the people of Half Moon Pass wanted to remember him for his help and his heroic acts of saving the people at the border. Sen Lang added that the people of Half Moon have been bowing to this tomb to wish for safe travels. It is said that kowtowing 3 times to this tomb will grant them safety. Xie Lian looked at Sen Lang weirdly. There is no such thing. He was startled when the merchants started bowing and praying to the tomb. He was surprised that the people ate up Sen Lang's lies and believed them. He grinned at Sen Lang, quietly chastising him for his mischievousness. Sen Lang stuck out his tongue, not at all feeling guilty. The startled scream reverberated through the cave. It was a snake. The merchants ran around in a panic. Fu Yao and Nanfeng lit up a fire on their palms. Xie Lian stood in front of Sen Lang to protect him. It's cute how Xie Lian thinks Sen Lang needs protecting. Xie Lian stared down this abominable creature. The snake is purplish red and gray in color. The skin on its neck pans out like a cobra. Its tail posed to strike is similar to a scorpion. It hisses at Xie Lian, and he recognized the species as a scorpion snake. Unexpectedly, a hand grabbed at the snake. It was Sen Lang. Xie Lian cautioned him to avoid being stung by its tail. Sen Lang was not at all daunted by the poisonous snake. He expertly held the snake firmly by its neck and tail as it wiggled, not appreciating being caught. Sen Lang observed the tail and noted that it is very unusual and interesting. Nanfeng asked Xie Lian if he is familiar with this kind of snake. Xie Lian explained that it is a very poisonous animal. What sets it apart from other snakes is that its tail can sting like a scorpion. The poison is more lethal than a cobra and scorpion combined. As Xie Lian was explaining how dangerous the species is, Sen Lang playfully stretched the snake with his 2 hands. That poor snake worried that Sen Lang might get stung. Xie Lian asked him to stop. Sen Lang replied that he is in no danger while coiling the snake like a rope. He explains that this snake is the symbol of the Grand Tutor of the Banu Kingdom. Sen Lang is simply taking advantage of the chance to observe the snake closely. By the time he was done with the snake was tied into a heaving line knot. That is some skill. It's hard to tie a rope like that, more so if it is a slippery snake. Sen Lang explains further that the Grand Tutor of Banu Kingdom was able to control these snakes. The people of Half Moon Pass made her Grand Tutor for this very reason. Xie Lian suspects that the snake may have been sent by the Grand Tutor. More screams are heard as the merchants take notice of the horde of snakes closing in on them. The snakes are everywhere. Fu Yao and Nanfeng used the fire on their hands to exterminate the snakes. However, the snakes are relentless. As they fried a batch of snakes with their flames, more of them are closing in, protecting each other's backs. Nanfeng and Fu Yao prepare themselves to fight off the snakes. Nanfeng shouted at everyone to get out. The merchants scrambled on their feet as they ran to the cave's entrance. One of the travelers noted that they may have made a mistake in bowing to the general's crypt. Instead of turning their misfortunes into blessings, it has been misfortunes after misfortunes. He notes that it is similar to bowing to that trash god, Xie Lian. Careful, the trash god, Xie Lian, is with you. You're going to hurt his feelings. Luckily, the sandstorm has cleared. The weary travelers slowly walked away from the cave. All seems well until one of the elders in the group slumped weakly to the sand. The boy in the red bandana called out that his Uncle Zhang may have been bitten. Yep, it's been misfortune after misfortune for these poor travelers. Let's hope that they all survive this. Alarmed, Xie Lian ordered the others to check their bodies for any wounds. He instructed them to tie off the afflicted limbs with a rope or tourniquet to prevent the spread of the poison. Xie Lian lifts up Uncle Zhang's hand and notices that the poison is quickly spreading. The man's arm is bleeding profusely, and there is bruising along the veins. Uncle Zhang lies down on the sand as Xie Lian stoops over him. There is no time to lose. Xie Lian unfastened his sack from his back to look for any items that can help. He hears the sound of cloth ripping. Ah Zhao quickly wrapped the man's wrist with the cloth he ripped from his own cloak. Panicked and in tears, the boy wanted reassurance that his uncle won't die. Sadly, Ah Zhao can't give him the reassurance he needs. It only takes 4 hours to die once poisoned by a scorpion snake. At a loss for what to do, the boy laments helplessly. Nanfeng brought out a pouch that contains medicine. He claims that it can extend the man's survival to 24 hours. However, an antidote will still be needed in order to completely cure the man. He administers the medicine to Uncle Shang. The others helplessly remark that as there is no antidote, the old man will be forced to wait for his death. That is just terrible. Think of the panic and the fear that you will experience as you wait to succumb to your death. Sen Lang interjected that there is an antidote. He explains that there is an herb that can only be found in the Banu kingdom called the Shan Yu herb. Holding on to this piece of hope, the boy rejoiced while rubbing tears from his eyes. He asked Ah Zhao why he hadn't shared this information before. Ah Zhao kneeled quietly beside Uncle Zhang, unable to reply. Sen Lang pointed out that as a guide, Ah Zhao probably does not want to lead them to their deaths. Any group that enters the Banu kingdom disappears. Xie Lian realizes that previous merchants and travelers are forced to enter Half Moon Country to get the antidotes. As much as they plan to go around the country when they pass through, they will inevitably have to go to Banu kingdom when they are bitten by a scorpion snake. As other members of the group express their fears about going to Banu kingdom, the boy enthusiastically argues that they can't just leave Uncle Zhang in this condition. Xie Lian decided that they will need reinforcement. He tapped into the communication array but was surprised that it was blocked. He asked Fu Yao and Nanfeng to enter the array as he is unable to enter. With bated breath, Xie Lian watched Nanfeng as he gave it a try. They finally realized that he is also unable to enter. Xie Lian concludes that the communication array is blocked in Half Moon Pass. Nanfeng agrees that it is a possibility as the place is ridden with resentful energy. A sudden movement can be seen on the boy's shoulder. A little scorpion snake peeks at the crook of the boy's neck. Instead of the boy's neck, the snake poised to strike Sen Lang. As the snake flew towards Sen Lang, Xie Lian acted quickly and grabbed the snake. The snake quickly coiled around Xie Lian's hand. Not missing a beat, Xie Lian smashes the snake harshly to the ground. Ruoyi unravels from Xie Lian's hand at its master's distress. With no change in his demeanor, Xie Lian cautioned the others to be more careful as there may be other snakes lurking. The mortals were stunned. Xie Lian felt someone grab his hand. It was Sen Lang, with a dark look on his face. Sen Lang inspected the back of Xie Lian's hand. His face is unreadable, with piercing eyes that make one tremble in fear. Sen Lang looked intently at Xie Lian's hand. A puncture wound is clearly visible against his pale skin. In a matter of seconds, the wound swelled to an angry red, clearly infected. Sen Lang grabbed Ruoyi in a choking hold and tied it around Xie Lian's wrist. The others looked on as he tends to Xie Lian. Suddenly, he turned around and grabbed a dagger from a traveler's hip. The traveler was startled and thought that Sen Lang may actually stab him. Sen Lang extended the dagger toward Nanfeng without a word. Understanding what he intends to do, Nanfeng sterilizes the knife with his flames. Sen Lang went back to Xie Lian and used the dagger to slice across the wound to make it bleed. Xie Lian tried to tell Sen Lang to stop what he is doing. He explains that even if the poison is sucked out, it will be useless due to the poison's potency. It may even cause more harm as Sen Lang might poison himself, still wearing that dark expression on his face. Sen Lang was not listening to Xie Lian. Placing his lips on the wound, he sucks on the poison, which made Xie Lian gasp. Unable to explain it, Xie Lian felt a sensation he never felt before. Oh, Sen Lang, that was smooth. Nanfeng and Fu Yao stood to the side as they looked on at the scene. At the embarrassing sight, Nanfeng looks away while Fu Yao remarks scathingly that Xie Lian's gesture of saving Sen Lang was unnecessary. There's a chance that the snake may not be able to bite the youth at all. Xie Lian tells him that he does not mind at all as the wound does not hurt and it won't kill him. Fu Yao asked Xie Lian if it truly does not hurt, to which Xie Lian insisted that it doesn't. He remarks that he's no longer able to feel pain. I don't think that's a good thing. Sen Lang unlatches his lips from Xie Lian's hand, licking the blood from his lips. The snake that Xie Lian smashed to the ground wiggled quietly, attempting to escape. With a loud bang that startled Xie Lian, the snake exploded, and its carcass smeared the ground. Sen Lang looked at it with pure hatred. I'd hide from that look. He's still very handsome though. Sen Lang pointed his finger at Ah Zhao, ordering him to take them to the Banu kingdom. He's acting like a spoiled young master, then turned his attention to Fu Yao to tell him to stay with the merchants. Annoyed at being ordered around, Fu Yao asked why he would listen to Sen Lang's orders. Xie Lian tried to defuse the situation by politely asking Ah Zhao to serve as a guide to the Banu kingdom. He then asked Fu Yao to take care of the merchants as there may be other dangers lurking about. Finding reason in Xie Lian's words, Fu Yao assented. Ah Zhao agreed as well, wanting to help. Birds of prey fly through the barren canyon, looking for fresh meat. Ah Zhao walks in front of them, leading the way. Xie Lian asks how common it is for scorpion snakes to appear whenever he passes through the desert. A Zhao responded that it was the first time he encountered those snakes. Nanfeng asks if he finds their guide suspicious. Xie Lian whispers back that it is better to be cautious. He thinks to himself that apart from A Zhao's unusual behavior, there is another one in their group who is acting differently. Sen Lang has been unusually quiet, his expression displeased. Unable to talk to him at the moment, Xie Lian decides to let it go. As the day turns to evening, they finally arrive at Banu Kingdom. In front of them, the looming entrance stood, its ruins a devastating sight. If it were me, you can't pay me enough to go there. The setting sun colors the ruin in an attractive red hue, giving the place an even more eerie look. The once flourishing country lies in ruins. The large archways that used to welcome travelers are but a chunk of wall. The homes were swallowed by the sand from the never-ending sandstorms that assaulted this place. This is what used to be the Banu Kingdom. Nanfeng observes that cities in Central Plains are bigger than this country. Xie Lian explains that countries located in the desert are only as big as its oasis. When it was flourishing, the population in the Banu Kingdom was only 10,000. Years ago, this number was decently sized. The place was lively, and people are thriving. For a country this small, Nanfeng remarks that it will not take much to raid this country to the ground. Xie Lian tells Nanfeng not to underestimate the people of the Banu Kingdom. What they lack in numbers, they make up with strong, combative, and fierce warriors. 40% of its population comprised its army. A knife to the chest will not stop a warrior from pushing forward. They did not fear death. Wow, 40% is a large portion of a population. Aside from adult civilians, the remaining 60% will be comprised of children, women, elderly people, and others who are not physically or mentally fit to join the military. In terms of military might, they must be a very formidable country. A Zhao remarks that Xie Lian seems to know many things about Half-Moon Country. Xie Lian replied that he was just retelling things he'd heard before. Nanfeng points out a wall in the distance. It was the Sinner's Pit. Long ago, it served as a prison for those who have wronged. The Sinner's Pit is comprised of 4 tall walls, with each wall standing at more than 30 meters high. It bears no roof, and a pole was placed diagonally towards it. At the end of the pole, there seems to be a flag dangling. Nanfeng noticed that there are no doors. He wonders if the prisoners are lowered down from the top. Sen Lang finally chimed in, telling Nanfeng that the sinners are thrown down. What a barbaric way to imprison people. Xie Lian made eye contact with Sen Lang, relieved that he is finally speaking. Sen Lang continued to explain that they would fill the bottom of the pit with beasts and venomous snakes. Shocked at what he heard, Nanfeng can't believe how barbaric the people of Banu Kingdom were. Xie Lian rubs his forehead as he defends that not all citizens were barbaric. There are some that were actually adorable. Xie Lian leans forward as he notices that what he first assumed was a flag is actually a person. A woman. An expression of shock and pity appears on A Zhao's face. A sound was heard, which alerted Sen Lang. He immediately grabbed Xie Lian and escorted him to safety. At seeing them move, Nanfeng and A Zhao followed. Finding an open door, Sen Lang entered the empty house dragging Xie Lian with him. As he closed the door softly, the woman they saw at the abandoned inn stepped on a dried twig with a snap. She gestures to her companion. It appears that they have been looking for a group of people. She wonders if she should kill them one at a time. The other woman dressed in black tells her to ask her friends for help. The one dressed in white sweetly tells the other that she only wants help from her. The one dressed in black states that she is not happy with being called for menial tasks like this. They hurry over in the direction that Xie Lian and Sen Lang went. As the two women near the house that hides Xie Lian and Sen Lang, the one clad in black stops in her tracks. With a gulp, Xie Lian fears that they may have been discovered. Who are these women? Could one of them be the Grand Tutor of Banu Kingdom? The woman dressed in black raises her palm towards the door, ready to attack. The one clad in white backed off to avoid being caught in the crossfire. When suddenly, a resounding boom was heard, blasting sand and debris distracting the two women. As the air clears, Nanfeng uses his fire to attack while the woman dressed in black blocks it. They fought each other, exchanging blasts and throwing balls of energy at each other. Nanfeng runs in the opposite direction to lead them away from Xie Lian. Hesitating, the woman dressed in black stood idle near the door. After a short pause, she soon follows her companion. Xie Lian peeks through the door, finding that the coast is clear. He silently commends Nanfeng for his quick thinking. Xie Lian suspects that there is a possibility that the one dressed in white is the Grand Tutor, and the friends they were alluding to may have been the resentful soldiers of Banu Kingdom. He tells Sen Lang that they may have felt their presence a while back and have been monitoring their movement. Xie Lian suspects that the soldiers of Banu Kingdom may be looking for them. A Zhao stood from where he's been hiding and patted his clothes to get rid of the sand. Xie Lian and Sen Lang approached him. They need to find the herbs as fast as they can while Nanfeng distracts the women. Xie Lian called out to A Zhao to ascertain if the guide is alright. He asks if the guide is familiar with the herb, admitting that while he is a guide, this is his first time entering the country, and he has never seen the herb before. Sen Lang describes the herb to Xie Lian and Zhao. The Shanyu herb is a small plant with large leaves that are peach-like and pointed. For a desert plant, it thrives under shade. That should narrow it down. Since they are in the desert, they can look for plants beside large buildings or tall walls. Sen Lang suggests that they should look for tall buildings, as Xie Lian used to collect scraps in this country before. He knows just the place to start looking. The tallest building in Banu Kingdom, the Imperial Palace. The Big Dipper shines bright in this starlit sky. The three climb up the stairs in the Imperial Palace. The palace was ridden with wild plants amply lighted. The 24-hour limit is almost over and they need to find the herb quickly. He warns Sen Lang to be careful of scorpion snakes. While looking through the lush vegetation, Xie Lian notices a rustling sound under a bush. As he looks to investigate, he sees someone squatting under the bush. It was the kid with the red bandana. The kid cries, begging to not be attacked. Xie Lian takes a step back and asks the kid if he is really Tian Shang. So that's the kid's name. Xie Lian prepares to attack, asking the kid why they entered the Banu Kingdom. He wonders where the rest of the group is. Xie Lian suspects that the boy may not be who he is. Raising his hand in a placating gesture, the boy stood where he is. Is he really Tian Shang? Or maybe he's the one who's been luring the travelers to the Banu Kingdom. The kid has been super optimistic. After all, the kid raises his hand in a gesture of prayer above his head as he insists that it is really him, Tian Shang. He reveals that two other merchants came with him and pointed to two merchants hiding behind a pillar. The two slowly climbed down the stairs toward them. Xie Lian scolds them for being so daring. It was foolish of them to come knowing how dangerous it is to enter the Banu Kingdom. Clearly chastised, Tian Shang apologizes. He reasons that his valiant action was due to his uncle's worsening condition. They were worried that Xie Lian and the rest won't be able to return, so they decided to come to them as reinforcement. They followed Zhao's earlier instructions to follow the road to reach the Banu Kingdom. Thinking that it would be better for more people to look for the herb, they came to help. Xie Lian suspects that these merchants think that they would run away with the herb and guide. He justifies their silly action as he believes that they are just being careful. I guess I won't be so trusting of strangers I just met in Half Moon Pass, especially when someone in my group needs an antidote. With these thoughts, Xie Lian continued searching through the bushes. Xie Lian comments on how lucky they were to get there safely without a guide. Xie Lian asks them what made them decide to search the Imperial Palace. With sweat dripping down his cheek, Tian Shang explains that when they came in, they saw only ruins and decided to search the tallest building. The kid is acting suspicious. From a distance, Sen Lang tells the others that he found the herbs. Everyone huddled around Sen Lang as he shows a handful of leaves to Xie Lian. He then crushed the leaves in his palm and applied the balm to Xie Lian's hand. Xie Lian thanks Sen Lang as his hand is being bandaged. For some reason, Sen Lang is unusually quiet. The three travelers eagerly anticipated the results, wanting to know if they got the right herb. Xie Lian replied that he is feeling a lot better and that they found the antidote. The three cheered and quickly moved to find more herbs. They found a large patch of the Shanyu herb at a distance. They decide to pick as much as they can carry and plans to sell them after bringing them home. Xie Lian looked at Sen Lang, wondering how the three found a patch of herbs in that direction when Sen Lang already searched there. Sen Lang shakes his head, telling Xie Lian that the herbs in that direction can't be used. Xie Lian asked him why. But before Sen Lang can answer, a wretched shout was heard telling them to move. Not knowing where the scream came from, the three travelers asked amongst themselves who shouted. They heard the voice again coming from the ground. This time it states that they are stepping all over it. Who could it be? Scared shitless, the three ran back to Xie Lian and Sen Lang. Xie Lian came closer to them to know what was happening. They told Xie Lian that there was something underneath them, and it can talk. Xie Lian parted the bushes, and what he saw was truly shocking. There was a face peeking through the hard ground. A living person was buried in the soil. Only his face is visible, and the rest of him is under the ground. The man smiled at Xie Lian, asking him if he was scared. That's just creepy. Two of the travelers hugged each other, screaming in fear, while Tian Shang pulled at his hair. The pitiful face told Xie Lian that he sometimes scares himself too. Stunned at the scene before him, Xie Lian asked the man who he is. The face on the ground returned Xie Lian's question. He asked who they were, to which Xie Lian answered that they are from a passing caravan. The face reminisced that 50 or 60 years ago, he used to be in a caravan too. This must be a previous victim. But if he's been there for so long, how did he survive? This alarmed Xie Lian. There's no way that a human can survive being buried alive like this. The man on the ground is probably no longer human. The man recounts his tale from decades ago, telling Xie Lian that he was caught by half-moon soldiers and was used as fertilizer for the plants. Xie Lian realized that the Shan Yu herbs were fertilized by living humans, making them thrive in this area. Sen Lang must have seen the face buried in the ground and decided to find ones that were not tainted. I don't think I'd want herbs fertilized by human flesh. The face on the ground laments that this is his first time in a long while to meet living humans. He begged them to come closer. No, don't come close to that thing. When something suspicious tells you to come close, you ran the F away. Rightfully so, no one wanted to get closer. The face then tells them that it is but a pity. Xie Lian asks why. The face tells Xie Lian that he wanted to get a good look at all of them because there is something he needs to confirm. Xie Lian asks what it is. With glee, the face tells him that it wants to confirm his suspicion that amongst them is someone he's met 60 years ago. Xie Lian turns to those present and asks the face who it is. Instead of answering, the face urged Xie Lian to come closer while licking its lips. Don't come close, I beg you. Xie Lian warns the others to stay away and not to believe the face. Indignantly, the one buried in the ground kept screaming that amongst them was the one who did this to him. That person will kill every one of them just like he killed the ones from his group. He claims that he is human and will not harm them. Xie Lian responds back that the face buried in the ground no longer seems human. As the group walks away from the creature, it kept screaming at them to come back. One of the merchants dropped his bag of Shan Yu herbs. As he stoops down to grab it, Xie Lian shouts at him to come back. A long strip of red shot out to the merchant's head. The merchant's body spasmed. He dropped his bag of herbs. The strip of red was an extremely long tongue. Gross. Iuawa. This is why you don't get close. As the face buried in the ground gulped, it let out a satisfied scream. It has been starving for so long. It was mentioned in the novel that having been buried for 60 years, this person learned to survive by sticking its tongue out to catch insects and flies. He eventually moved on to small animals and anything that came close, including humans. As its tongue merrily swings in the air, it screamed for the general of Banu Kingdom, alerting the half-moon soldiers of their whereabouts. With a resounding boom, vicious-looking large men jumped off the roof and landed on the ground. All three carry a club densely packed with spiked metal. The one leading them is a man about 9 feet tall. His bearing stood out the most, with his weapon slung over his shoulder and a scar on his face. This man is the general of Banu Kingdom. That man's bearing is imposing. What are they going to do to Xie Lian and his companions? Xie Lian and the rest were being detained by the Banu soldiers. A few more dropped from the roof. Xie Lian warned the others to not make sudden movements. He tells them that the soldiers are deliberating if they should take them. As this happens, the face on the ground kept screaming, taking credit for the capture of the new prisoners, begging to be let go. The face buried in the ground kept screaming with Banu language mixed in, words he probably learned in his 60 years of captivity. Disgusted at the sight of the face buried in the ground, the general of Banu Kingdom dug his spiked club into the creature's face and lifts him up. The creature and its skeleton were uprooted from the ground. That's just chilling. I felt sorry for this creature, but he's creepy. The general threw the creature away, hitting the wall with a loud boom. The general ordered that they be taken away, and they obediently followed. Xie Lian walks beside Sen Lang and asks him if he knew which general it is. Xie Lian tells him that the Banu Kingdom only had one general at the time of the siege. The general's name was Mo. It was said that when Mo was young, he was bullied for being weak, so he lifted weights in order to become strong and eventually became a general. He was said to be Banu's kingdom's strongest and bravest general. He was also a loyal follower of the Grand Tutor. It is said that even after death, he remained loyal to her. Xie Lian suspects that they are being brought to the Grand Tutor. As they walk the planks leading to the top of Sinner's Pit, Xie Lian notes that a powerful barrier formation surrounds it. Xie Lian thoughts go to Nanfeng. He wondered how he was faring after distracting the two women. They were able to retrieve the Shan Yu's herb, and the clock is ticking for the uncle, who is waiting for their return. The allotted 24 hours are almost over. I hope they can make it back for Tian Shang's uncle. Xie Lian leans against the walls as he thinks of the fastest option to get out of this situation. With his foot, he pushed a small rock to the edge of the Sinner's Pit and waited for the resounding noise as it hits the bottom. Nothing. Xie Lian realized that the barrier formation ensures that no one gets out of the pit. As Xie Lian looks forward, he notices that the others are looking at something scary. To their left, dangling at the end of the pole, is a girl. Mo smashed down his club on the ground and called for his brothers. After a beat of silence, roaring was heard from the Sinner's Pit. Just what is down there? Tian Shang was startled by the deafening roar and covers his ears. He loudly asked what is down there. Sen Lang quickly answered that those were soldiers' souls. The souls were filled with so much resentment that their anger can only be pacified by eating the flesh of live humans. If not fed, they will scream all night in agony. Xie Lian assures them that if they are fed to the souls, he will be the first to jump. Mo orders 2 of the prisoners to be thrown into the pit. He orders them to take the others and lock them up. With his hand fisted, Zhao quickly jumped towards Kamo, taking out a dagger to embed it in the general's heart. His attempt was thwarted as Kamo pushed him away. He fell right into the pit. That was fast, but poor Zhao. I guess he was not a bad guy after all. Xie Lian could not believe how things turned out. He has been suspecting Zhao. At a short distance, Tian Shang begged to not be thrown while being dragged by Banu soldiers. In Banu language, Xie Lian called for the general to halt, surprised that someone speaks their language. He asked Xie Lian where he came from. Xie Lian answered that he came from the Central Plains. This response garnered the hatred of all the soldiers. They all screamed to have him thrown down into the pit. Kamo did not become a general only due to his strength. Realizing that there is more to Xie Lian, he asks how someone who is not from their land knows how to speak their language. As Xie Lian prepares for the lies he has to weave, the sound of hungry souls comes from the pit, clamoring to be fed. Kamo orders for Tian Shang to be thrown down. Xie Lian held onto Tian Shang, and he reasoned with Kamo to let him go first. He explains that Tian Shang is an innocent child from a passing caravan. Kamo finds Xie Lian suspicious and wishes to interrogate him further, so he can't go first. Xie Lian realized that his plan backfired. He originally wanted to earn the ire of the soldiers so that he will be the first to be thrown down into the pit. Xie Lian was about to jump, but Sen Lang beats him to it. No, Sen Lang, don't jump. Sen Lang stood at the edge. Out of fear that the youth may jump, Xie Lian holds off his plans and encourages the young man to back off the edge. Sen Lang tells him that everything will be alright and to not be afraid. Xie Lian retorts that he will stop being afraid when Sen Lang backs off the edge. Not listening to Xie Lian this time, Sen Lang promised that he will only be gone for a while as he jumps off down to the bottom of Sinner's pit. His hair fluttered in the soft breeze as Xie Lian calls for him. Sen Lang, why did you jump? In the next chapters, we will find out what's down there. That's it for now. See you in the next video.